Hi, I'm Marshall Atkinson with Atkinson Consulting, and welcome to Building Better Processes. This is a three-part presentation, and we're going to learn how to create, map out, and deploy processes that work for your shop. And now, let's take a look at part one. Thanks. Hi, it's Marshall Atkinson with Atkinson Consulting, and today I have a presentation for you called Building Better Processes. So this is going to be an in-depth look about how you can change things for the better in your shop, and let's get to it. So the first thing we kind of want to talk about is a great quote from W. Edwards Deming, who is really kind of one of the fathers of modern day process mapping. And if you can't describe what you were doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. So think about everything you do in your shop. And if we really look at all of our established processes, do you have these mapped out so you know exactly what you're doing? We have lead generation and marketing processes, quoting processes, sales processes, order entry, purchasing, receiving, art, embroidery, screen making, digital printing, color matching, production organization, screen print production, embroidery production, DTG production, heat press production, dye sub production, post-production, hang tagging, polybagging, and all that, order packaging, shipping, invoicing, and training, and lastly, employee review. So these are a whole bunch of processes that I wrote here. There's probably hundreds or even maybe 1,000 more. Plus there's tiny processes within processes. So when we think about everything we do, a lot of times the struggle that we have in our shops is that we haven't actually nailed down exactly how we're supposed to do something. So I want you to take a step back, and when you think about your processes and when you think about everything that you're doing in your business, is everything working as it should? And if it's not, now's the time to really kind of build a process map and really look at it. So I want you to take this test, and this could be in anything, but for this particular thing, I'm going to choose the quoting process because this has a dramatic effect on your shop, because if everybody isn't quoting things the same, it could lead to a lot of financial distress and problems down the line. So let's just say in your shop, you have, 3 or 4 people that do quotes. So in this example, what I'd like you to do is to copy this and have your folks in your shop give you a quote on this. And what you're trying to find out, does everybody quote this and arrive at the same number? So you ready? Here we go. So this is going to be 125 adult shirts. So there's 25 small, medium, large, extra large, and then 25 doubles plus 10 3X, 10 4X, and 5X. There's also youth. There's 75 youth shirts. So this is a total of 200 shirts. It's going to be an island yellow jerseys, 29M and 29B, which is a 50-50 shirt. Your customer is giving you the art, so you don't have to design it. It's a left chest using 2995 blue and 186 red. The back is the same blue and red plus black. It's for an event, so the event can't change. It's going to be on that day. Its in hands is 5 business days from today. So whatever today's date is, it needs to be somewhere 5 business days from today, and you're shipping it. So wherever you live, pick a city across the state, and that's where you're going to ship it. So just grab a zip code there, and have everyone look up how much the shipping might be. So I want you to use this as an example to test your quoting process. So what are we doing here? We're testing to see if people uncovered the landmines that I set up for you. Okay. So did you notice that the PMS 2995 light blue is going to need an underbase for the island yellow shirt? Otherwise, guess what? That blue might look green. So that's going to add another screen. So how many people quoted this correctly? So it's not a 2/3, right? It's a 3/4 with the screens. It's adult and youth shirts. Did you quote on 2 sets of screens? Or are you trying to cram everything onto one side, one set? It goes from youth all the way up to a 5X shirt. That's a crazy size spread. Did everybody use the right pricing for adult and adult big sizes and the youth? And it's 5 business days from today in another city. Okay. So when should this order ship? If it's 1 day ground, that really only gives you 4 days. Is that in your rush chart? I don't know how you run your shop, but that could be a rush. Is there a fee for that? Is there a rush fee? Did they charge it? What is the availability of the garments? So if you look this up with your apparel distributor, right? Do they have these jersey shirts? Do they have it in the size spread? Are they going to have to ship something in from another city, right? And if you had to ship them in, the only way to meet the enhanced date is to overnight them. So did we check on how much that's going to be? And so you can add that into the quote. How did you build this quote? Did everybody notice everything? Or it's just like business as usual? And then what happens is after the customer accepts the quote, that's when these hidden charges show up. So the reason this is kind of a good example is because this is where we get wrong in our process because we're not following a set of procedures. Okay. So if you gave this to your crew, which of course you didn't because we're just going over this now, but did everyone have the same answers? And if they didn't, let's say you had 4 people quote and you had 4 different answers and only one of them was right. And this is an example of what's going on with your quoting process. What do you think that costs you a year? Now, we could also use this same example and talk about the screen room or talk about printing or embroidery or shipping or whatever. This is just one example. And if you have multiple people doing a process, is everybody doing it the same way? What I'm trying to highlight here. So a process, here's the definition, is a series of actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. So that's what we're trying to do here is we're trying to figure out what are the steps, what are the action points, what is the order that we need to do them in, and does we always get the same result?